How's it going, guys? My name is Jimmy Champagne, and today I'm here with my review of the Resident Evil 2 remake, which I played on PS4 Pro. When this remake was announced, I was incredibly excited because my experience with the Resident Evil franchise starts with Resident Evil 4. I love the gameplay in that game, it's just perfect in every way, so when I went back and tried to play the games with the tank controls, it didn't really go so well. The idea of exploring a small town in upstate New York that's been totally overrun by zombies and it's cut off from the rest of the world has always been so exciting to me, and now that I've done it as Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield, I can see why this is so many people's favorite Resident Evil game. When you start the game, you pick between Claire or Leon, and it doesn't matter which one you pick first. They both end up at a gas station that sort of teaches you the ropes, and they're both on their way into Raccoon City. Leon's starting his first day as a police officer there, and Claire is looking for her brother Chris, who she hasn't heard from in a while. I actually really liked both stories, but Leon's was my favorite because not only is it harder due to the fact that you get weaker weapons than Claire, they're also doled out to you slower over the course of the game, and it matches the tone better of slowly creeping your way through the Raccoon Police Department and kind of judging whether or not it's worth it to waste a bunch of herbs and ammo to run all the way back to the west wing of the building because you just found the code to unlock a safe. And spoilers, it's always worth it even though it might be a little bit hard. In fact, the difficulty in this game is what makes it so scary. It's built in Resident Evil 7's engine, but this time they went to third person and the gameplay feels nice and smooth and responsive. It never feels like the control is taken away from you, and it is one of the only Resident Evil games since 4 where I felt like the shooting actually improved when I put an attachment on my gun, like a stock on my Matilda. But with that being said, the zombies in this game can take a punch. You can pump 3 9mm bullets into their head and that'll usually knock them out for a little bit, but unless you shoot their head with a shotgun and blow it up or turn them into like pulpy mess with a grenade launcher as Claire, when you come back 10 minutes later because you're making your way back to the lobby, you can bet your ass those zombies will be standing up ready to eat you all over again. That system comes into play about halfway through the game when Mr. X shows up and starts chasing you around the police department. He is always on your tail, and if you don't make sure you take out every single zombie if you have the ammo, you'll turn a corner and there will either be a licker there or a zombie who's ready to grab you and rip your throat out, and every time you'll want to punch yourself in the face because that's what it was like for me. And just to be real with you guys, I was terrified of Mr. X. The sound of him pounding around the police station getting closer and closer just made me shiver, and it made me want to get places a whole lot faster because if I turned around and saw him coming, or I was walking down a hallway and he turned the corner, I would just give up on whatever I was doing and do my best to get as far away from him as possible. The other bosses in this game haven't really been shown off in trailers, so I won't spoil them. There are a few that you fight multiple times over the game and they get more and more grotesque every time you see them, which is something I really appreciated, and a lot of them are a little tough to beat, but once you figure out the whole puzzle and how to beat them, it's not that hard. It's doable. It's just scary to do so. Even though it's a third-person Resident Evil that lets you walk and shoot, when you do so, your accuracy is tanked. So a lot of times I did stand still or I would back up a lot and then hold my gun forward and let that little reticle close to make myself more accurate. Another reason why I think this game is so scary is because the mobility is also very hampered, especially compared to something like The Evil Within 2 that let you hit the zombies if you ran out of ammo, or you could sprint a lot faster. In this game, you have the quick turn so you can kind of jog away or you can walk. You really don't have many more options other than that. When I started the game, the thing that was really doing it for me was exploration, and I loved going into every single room I could and finding every little item in there, and I feel like the developers knew people would do that because when you explore a room, the map conveniently changes the color of that room from red to blue. But then I realized that about 60 or 70% of the campaign takes place in the RPD, and I got a little disappointed. When I started the game over as Claire, I was expecting to go to different parts of Raccoon City than Leon, but I quickly realized that you do pretty much explore the exact same buildings. You just get to see different cutscenes and side characters and maybe a few different rooms in that playthrough, and that was a little disappointing. I understand that at the time Resident Evil 2 came out, that was to extend the campaigns and to make you feel like you were getting your money's worth, but here it just feels like it's not enough. I wish there were more different locales for them to visit in each of their campaigns. I know I still have the B stories for Claire and Leon to play through because those are a little bit different, and the 4th survivor mode, but I'm going to take a little bit of a break just so it doesn't feel so monotonous. I mentioned already that I played it in 4K on my PS4 Pro and it looked absolutely breathtaking, which I guess shouldn't be a surprise since it's in RE7's engine, but there was a weird graphical glitch in the lobby of the RPD that made reflections look weird on the wall, and I don't really know what was going on there. But regardless, the textures are amazing, the character models are top notch, and examining all the items in HD is just as cool as it was in RE7, but this time it's in 4K, which is just breathtaking. If you haven't experienced 4K, I think now is the time to buy into it. The last thing I want to touch on here is that while the individual stories for each character are a little short, the overarching one they combine to tell is definitely one worth experiencing. When Resident Evil 7 came out, I praised its story for being simple compared to what ballooned out of Resident Evil 4, and this one is even simpler. At the very end of the game, there's a character who's having a monologue, and I set down my controller for that anime moment, but even that flashback cutscene was like 3 or 4 seconds, and I was genuinely impressed. For a Japanese game, that's pretty good. To wrap things up here, I think this was the perfect way to bring back Resident Evil 2. To quote Jason Blum when he was talking about Halloween, it sort of walks the line between reinventing something new and bowing down to the original, and I loved almost every second of it. If you played the one-shot demo and you were stoked for the final release, I don't think you have anything to worry about. Whether you're a new subscriber here or you've been here for a while, I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments below, and also hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. Anyway guys, my name is Jimmy Champagne, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.